You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU sports team. Welcome into the Hodges Huddle, everyone. Let's address the elephant in the room. The camera angle looks different. And that is because we have a very special guest joining us today. We have one of Baton Rouge's finest, one of sports media's finest, whatever you want to call him. John Eads, guys, give him a round of applause.
No, you guys don't need
There we
to do
go.
that. Thank you. You forgot to add in there the guy that looks like he's from The Incredibles. I think that's what people
what's
said
funny?
last time I was in. So
When I told everybody you were coming in today, and that's literally how everyone describes you, like, oh, the Super Jack guy, like, yeah. That like, you can't miss him. You can't miss
if
him.
it was meant to be a compliment, I'll take it.
Oh, it is, man. But no, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. And the heat of baseball season, conference play starting up last weekend, and got March Madness going on. Unfortunately, the men are not in it again, but the women are, and we can be McNeese Cowboy fans.
Yeah, we can.
Here.
Just,
So,
Bill Armstrong.
just for the weekend.
Yeah, just for the weekend.
Yeah, well, with that, we're going to get right into this very special episode, man. This is all about John today, guys. So first talk about how you got into the sports journalism thing. Like, what was your journey like? I know you're a Syracuse guy, so how do you go from being in Syracuse, New York, making your way to Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
That's, big shift.
It's a question I get a lot.
Yeah.
I'll start with the first one, how I got into this. Like many people, I'm sure you guys as well, grew up watching ESPN, SportsCenter, Top 10 plays, all that, played sports. So I always kind of had it in the back of my head that I'd like to do the sports media thing. That seemed like an attractive career to me if I wasn't able to play, which I found out as I got older I wasn't a very gifted athlete. So going into my senior year of high school, I played hockey my whole life. I got the shirt on right now, actually.
Yeah.
One of the few shirts that still
Still fits.
yeah. So, small collection. I'm not like you guys. I mean, you guys are dripped out right here. I love it. But going into my senior year, I decided I'd wanted to play tackle football. It'd always been a dream of mine. My parents would let me because of the concussion thing and stuff.
Yeah.
And hockey is a year-round sport up north, so it's hard to play football and hockey because, there's preseason and things like that. So senior year, I don't know, one day I woke up, I was like, you know what, I'm playing football this year. This is my last chance to do it. So I went and told the coach I'm doing it, and then I stopped showing up to hockey, which I thought would be fine. I'm still playing a sport. I'm not sitting on the couch eating potato chips, you know.
You're not me.
Staying in shape, right? Play that whole season, and then it's time for hockey tryouts. I go to the tryouts. I was on the team the year before, so I was like, all right, I'll probably just make the team again, obviously, whatever. But they ended up cutting me from the team and put a kid that was also a senior that had played JV the year prior in my place because he had shown up to the hockey stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, the reason why I'm saying this is because I now had nothing to do during the winter. And for the prior 15 years of my life, my winters were spoken for playing hockey. So what I did is I started doing our high school broadcasting, program. I do the color, sometimes the play-by-play for the hockey games because that's a sport I was obviously familiar with. I knew all the guys because they were my teammates. And my journalism teacher in high school actually went to Syracuse. He didn't do the journalism program, but he was in the radio station there and things like that, similar to you guys here at KLSU.
Yeah.
And he just, for whatever reason, told me, hey, you should apply to Syracuse because I was doing the whole broadcasting thing. Didn't really think much of it. Kind of filled out the application, the essay, all that. Didn't really expect much. I ended up getting in somehow.
Yeah.
And from there, my options for college were that, community college to play lacrosse, or Indiana for sports management. So a wide array of options and things I could have done. And I sat down with my parents, and the broadcasting deal at Syracuse seemed like the best and clearest path for me. So enrolled, I was blessed enough to go there, and they have a system there, you work hard, you do the clubs, and you devote yourself to it, and you get better over time, and that's led me to where I am now. I graduated, kind of got to take a job wherever they are in TV, and
absolutely.
There was one available down here, which is another whole story, but I took it and moved in by myself, and I've been down here about 3 years now.
Got you. And you said you could have gone to community college to play lacrosse as well. So, just interested, which sport did you enjoy playing more? Was it hockey or lacrosse for you?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of got burnt out of hockey from playing it for so many years. Lacrosse was cool. I don't know. I mean, it was fine, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite. I think football was always my favorite. I really enjoyed playing football that one year. So.
Yeah, football is king.
Yeah, I agree. My parents also didn't let me play football whenever I was growing up. Not because of concussions, but because they were scared I was going to get too good and leave them behind.
Right.
No, yeah. But, so, like, you know, you're from Michigan. You're still a Michigan fan? Like, you're still rooting for them?
A little bit. It's funny. I mean, they have one of the best college basketball teams in the country this year.
Yeah.
And I have watched maybe 5 minutes of them, you know. As you get into the business and you get older, you're obviously more fixated on what you got going on in your day-to-day life. So I find it hard to carve out time to be a fan and watch those teams. Now, during football season, I still find myself, you know, before I have to go into work, watching them when I can. But as you work in sports media, I don't know what it is, but you kind of become a little bit less of a fan in some ways, a little less passionate because you've seen the behind the scenes and stuff. So I still keep up with them. I don't know if you guys have experienced this too at all, you know, working and doing media stuff. But
I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah.
And I guess because we're not, like, professionals yet. But I think you're absolutely right. Like, getting to see the behind-the-scenes aspect of it, I think it kind of helps you see it as a business now.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of just takes out some of the magic for it, that it kind of loses some of that mystique that you grew up seeing and really just only being able to wonder about. But, you know, you talked about us being journalists in this field. What was that like for you at Syracuse? Was that, you know, a K Syracuse, right? Was there a KSU there, like a KLSU here? Like, what was that like for you?
yeah, our radio station's call letters are WAER, and they would allow us to call football games and basketball games and lacrosse games on the radio. There were other radio stations too. One was called Z89, where we could broadcast women's basketball, Friday night football, high school, and women's lacrosse as well. So there were a lot of opportunities. You just kind of had to go there, show up consistently, prove yourself, same as here, I'm sure, and then get cleared to do play-by-play stuff.
Yeah.
But we also had student TV, like Tiger TV, so you can go report on games and videotape games. We had ACC Network Extra, like SEC Network Plus kind of deal. You could broadcast some games on TV if you were selected and that kind of thing. So there were tons of opportunities. Here, I guess they don't let y'all broadcast football and stuff on the radio.
No,
and things?
not.
It's
Yeah.
it violates like the license agreement they have.
Yeah,
so.
Because they used to do it. They used to let us do baseball games, if I'm not wrong. But this was like a while ago. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they were telling me, you know, they were asking me if KLSU still does coverage on the baseball games, and I told them no. And he was like, "But didn't y'all go and cover games last year?" I said, "No, that was whenever Grambling was playing somebody else in Alex Box."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
So we
long as
can't-
LSU's not playing,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. I mean, that's just takes away opportunities from you guys. So,
I would love to do it though.
yeah.
I would love to do that.
I'm
Even
kind
if
of.
nobody's listening.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, you just do it
Yeah.
for reps at that
It's
point.
just fun,
Yeah.
and it's a good experience. Speaking of experience, like Syracuse men's basketball, Syracuse lacrosse. I mean, those are two of the, best programs in their respective sports. What's it like getting to cover a giant like Jim Boeheim and such a successful lacrosse program?
Interesting. I picked the 4 years in which they were terrible
Yep.
at everything, to be honest with you. I came in as a freshman the year prior. They'd won 10 games in football, and the most games they'd won when I was there was 7. I think they went to 2 bowl games, so that they were no good. The basketball team made it to a Sweet 16 my sophomore year. That was the peak of Syracuse basketball in my time in college. And the lacrosse team had one of its worst seasons in program history during my junior year, which is the year you really broadcast lacrosse. It's kind of a junior thing. So that was a bummer, you know. And they started to get a little bit better my senior year. And now the lacrosse team's, again, one of the best in the country. The basketball team just fired another coach. So they're kind of treading water still. And football had a 10-win season 2 years ago. So, unfortunately, when I was there, I didn't get to experience some of the craziness, like when they won the national title in 2003 in basketball and stuff. But there's still a lot of interest. And it's kind of like Baton Rouge in some ways. Obviously, the weather's very different.
Yeah.
All that. Snowstorms you got to worry about there, not hurricanes. But people are very passionate about Syracuse the same way they are here about LSU. You know, it's a smaller community. It's in upstate New York. It's far away from New York City. So if you're in upstate, you know, you're a Syracuse fan. The same way if you're in Gonzales or Prairieville, you know, you're an LSU fan. So people there really care about what you're putting out as a student, which is cool because if it's good, you know, I mean, they'll like it. If it's not good, they're going to tell you about it, but at least they're passionate about it. So there's a big appetite for the sports coverage there, whether they're good or bad. And really, when they're bad, it's kind of better coverage because you could be a little bit more opinionated, and people are, for some reason, people want to read about more negative things than positive things. And that's not a great thing in this world, but that's just kind of how it is, especially for our business. So you get an opportunity as a student to really kind of be a professional the same way you do here. And there's real consequences if you do bad work, but there's also opportunities to make a name for yourself if you do good work.
And then,
you can go.
I was just gonna kind of follow up there. Like everyone hears about, like you mentioned, it's a smaller community, but there's a lot of passion. Covering games in the Carrier Dome. I mean, how does that kind of compare to like atmospheres like you see in the PMAC and atmospheres like Death Valley?
Yeah, I'd say it's maybe comparable to the PMAC. It's kind of hard though because it's a football stadium and they only play the basketball games on half of it, so the sound doesn't really get trapped in there very well. So you can't really feel it like you do in the PMAC, but when there's big games in there, I mean, you look around and the place is packed. They played Duke in a game, I want to say 5-6 years ago. Zion Williamson was there. Maybe it was a little bit before that. The stadium was so packed, the basketball court was over here. They had fans sitting on the opposite end zone just to see. They couldn't even see the game at that point. They're watching on the Jumbotron. So when they're good, people will show up. And it's, I think, the same for LSU men's basketball and women's. I mean, you look at the difference between the men and the women's programs and the attendance. I mean, that place is packed up when Kim Mulkey's team's playing. Yeah. When Matt McMahon's team's playing, you probably see more fans at a high school game, to be honest with you. I mean, no disrespect. So it's similar. It's similar in some ways. The Carrier Dome also, I mean, it is smaller than Tiger Stadium. So if we're talking about football and it's indoors, you have the roof over top. So when that place is sold out and it's rocking, and there were some good football games my senior year. They played Purdue in a close game. They played Notre Dame. It was on ESPN. That was a big game. And there's big things that happen. I mean, that place can roar. So obviously not as many people. I think the Dome seats maybe 40,000 or so, give or take. Tiger Stadium's obviously 100,000 plus. But just because it's indoors and stuff, and it is a little smaller, it's a little bit more intimate, you know. So that place can get loud. You hear it on the radio for sure.
Syracuse, if I'm not wrong, probably has the most prestigious, I guess, manship school in the country. If not one of the most. Yeah. And over here, we also have a pretty good one. And I had the opportunity to go to Denver for CBI this past year. Jay went to Seattle to go to CBI. It's college. You know what that is?
I don't know. What is that?
College Broadcasters International. They basically get a bunch of top broadcasters from around the country, and they bring them all into one convention anywhere in the country. And they invited me this past year to go. Jay went 2 years ago to Seattle. And it was a really great opportunity. And I guess I want to know, like, what are some opportunities that help build your career similar to how this did? Because I got to talk to people from Oregon State who did baseball. And I got to talk to the Rockies play-by-play commentator for the radio. Some really cool people. So have you had anything like that kind of help build your career similar?
Those are good connections to have. I wish that we would have done something similar to that. Anytime, we got to take a lot of road trips. So I mentioned that we broadcast the basketball, the lacrosse. You'd get to take a road trip or two each season to call a game. So I got to go to, like, Charlottesville when Syracuse played Virginia. I got to go to Clemson when Syracuse played Clemson in basketball. Now, these weren't very good games, but the trips were still fun. Lacrosse, I got to go to Stony Brook and some other places as well, which was cool. So when you're there, you get to meet some people, the guys broadcasting the games. I try to make a point to go talk to the talent doing the game on TV, especially at Syracuse, because they'll sit, like, right in front of us, which is a little nerve-wracking. You got the ESPN guys on the table in front of you, and you're right behind them. And they could hear you if they take their headphones off, you know what I mean? So any opportunity I had to go shake those hands, get those, business cards and form those connections, I would. My senior year, every year we do this thing now. We've been doing it for 7-8 years at Syracuse. We'll send a group of 4 to 10 kids to the Super Bowl to be on Media Row every year. And you'll go, you'll get there on Sunday, the week before, you set up. And then while you're there, your job is to do interviews, host the radio show for a couple hours. And while you're doing all that, you're making a ton of connections because there's a lot of Syracuse connections there. People are just walking from table to table, shaking hands and looking to, come on your show and promote something or whatever. So that was a really good opportunity to meet some people, some guys that work in TV that were there reporting as well. So we had plenty of opportunities too. Nothing like that though. That does sound like a lot of fun, the CBI.
It was cool. It was very fun.
Yeah. So you graduate from Syracuse in May of 2023, and you kind of just hit the ground running as far as, the workforce goes. to go from a place like Syracuse, being a northern guy all your life, and then to come to the bottom of the map in a place like Baton Rouge, was there a bit of any culture shock there? Was there anything that surprised you about, I guess just how different the places are? Just what was that transition like altogether?
A little bit. I've always felt that I'm an adaptable person, so I feel like wherever I am, I can kind of get a lay of the land and figure out where I fit in there, So, I mean, there were adjustments I had to make, like the traffic and the heat and stuff like that. But, I mean, that just comes with it anywhere you go. Like, if I took a job in Alaska, I'd have to get used to what life in Alaska's like, you know? For me, my mentality was like, all right, I graduated from college. I'm an adult now. I'm on my own. I got to figure it out, So I was a little bit more concerned with, I'm on the deep end of the pool here and I got to swim, than kind of what was going on around me. So my main goal was to kind of just embrace the entire thing, Don't say no to an opportunity. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You see people on the sideline you don't know, go shake their hand, go introduce yourself, because you form that relationship, and then you see those people 5 and 6 more times down the road. Before you know it, it's been 2 years, and you're sitting down having dinner with them or something like that. You know what I mean? So it definitely was a little bit of a shift, but I feel like no matter where I would have gone or even go right now, I mean, I made a decision to go there. I'm doing myself no good kind of being hesitant and putting myself in a box, and not being open to whatever's going on, meeting people, accepting what's going on here. So I feel like I caught on pretty quickly. I don't know that there was a much of a culture shock, to be honest with you, because we're all people at the end of the day, and y'all do things maybe a little different down here and stuff, and things are a little bit different from an atmospheric or environmental standpoint. But at the end of the day, I mean, we breathe the same air, and we get paid to do a job, and that's it, man. So when you think about it like that, it's really not that complicated. You wake up, you got to be at work on time. When your work's done, you go home, you do it all again the next day,
One of the coolest things, every time I'm on the field and I'm getting video, is every time a player walks past, they always stop and they give you some dap. So is that like not like a really cool feeling for you? Like all the players like know who you are.
It is cool. It's just I know them and they know me, and that's just from being there a lot and from talking to them, because I feel like you can do a better job as a reporter when you have rapport with the players. It doesn't feel as much transactional. And that's kind of, you don't get that with every sport. Like football, basketball in some respects, like there's a lot of media coverage in some of these sports, and it's hard to really form relationships with people beyond just, okay, we have media opportunity. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to give me some answers to my questions. So I look for opportunities in between there to really get to know people. Not even for personal gain, just more of like to get to know them better as human beings, because these are the guys that we're talking about,
Yeah.
And I talked about this earlier, just the negativity and stuff. I mean, it's so easy to trash people and stuff and speak negatively about people's performance and things like that. But, I kind of like to toe the line of being critical of people when they need to be spoken critically of, but also understanding the human element of this, and that words have consequences and words hurt people. So it's certainly not sugarcoating and protecting people with bad reporting, but I also don't want to get up in front of a microphone and attack people's personal traits, and
Yes.
so that's why I kind of like to have that rapport with the guys. And you can really get some good information from that small talk too, sometimes. And sometimes it has things to do with the job, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes those two will go together, And I don't know. I mean, baseball is a big responsibility of mine, and I try to do as much as I can with that and show up as much as I can so I have the most informed opinion. And I think when you do that, you gain people's respect. But, that's not easily earned, So it's something I do take a lot of pride in, is having those relationships with people and nourishing those and stuff. But also the biggest thing is just having the best opinion. That's not just kind of a guessing game. It's all this intel I've gathered from those conversations, from seeing things.
Right.
And on those relationships, one thing you do that I really admire and I'm a big fan of is the work you do with high schoolers locally. Everyone loves their 5 stars, but you kind of take time to spotlight some lesser known guys. Can you kind of talk about that impact that you have on the community and doing that and those type of relationships that you can build?
Yeah, no, I'm getting a little older. I'm 24 now, but it wasn't too long ago that I was in those kids' shoes, and I just remember, I grew up in Detroit, and it's a big media market. So you're not going to see the TV folks that much, but I hardly ever saw them, and I thought it'd be so cool if we can kind of break down that barrier of, you never see the TV stations or, you're not important enough for them to come see you. So, I really try to take it upon myself to go to as many things as possible, to meet as many people as possible and showcase as many people as possible because, the Baton Rouge is a big area, and it's so easy to get lost in the shuffle here. If you're not some athlete that plays for the travel teams and stuff, it gets all this social media exposure and stuff. Like people won't even know who you are. And there's some really good, talented student athletes in this area that people just don't know about because they don't want to go out to the sticks, and see them. And neither do the TV stations. So that's been a big mission of mine is getting to some of those places that don't get a ton of spotlight, and giving them the spotlight that they deserve. Because I feel like in some ways that's the only thing holding people back from accomplishing goals they have is that people just don't have the doors open for them for one reason or another.
Yeah.
On top of that, it's just super fun. People love their high school sports down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to these high school games, it's almost like LSU games, the way they tailgate and how loud it gets. They shoot cannons off at games. The band plays super loud. They got a cheer team, a dance team. It's a big deal, and it's very fun. I love Friday nights down here. So, yeah.
Was that a talk about how there wasn't really a culture shock, but was that a big difference coming down and seeing
bit.
how big high school games are down here?
Yeah, not as big, I don't think, back home. People care up there, but it's not like life or death. Down here, I feel like it really is life or death for a lot of people.
It feels like it.
You
So.
know?
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. And our station, we have a big show we do on Fridays. It's like 45 minutes long, and we'll go to 20 to 25 high school games. So it's a big investment of ours, and I like that, so I really dive into that. But on top of that, TV, we only get 3 to 5 minutes to showcase things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of footage that we get that either just gets deleted or goes into archives and it never gets seen. So that's another thing I've tried to do since I've been down here is put as much stuff out there as possible. Because even if people don't see it on TV, they got Instagram, they got Facebook, they got Twitter, they could see some of the stuff that they did in the game, fun memories they always want to remember on their phone, a tap of a finger away. So that's another thing I've tried to do since I've been down here.
I noticed the state championship basketball videos you've been putting out. It kind of took me back to my high school days when I would do that stuff. Is that something you kind of want to make a point to do in the future as well? I know you said you're only 24. You're so young. You've been in the industry for, I guess this is your third year down here, right?
Almost, yeah.
Do you kind of see yourself sticking where you are now, or do you kind of want to get back to that commentary role?
Good question. I did a lot of commentary in college, and it's something that I would still like to do. There's different things that come into play, though, when you graduate. You got non-compete clauses in your contract, so they don't allow you to work for other companies and make money and stuff. So that's a big thing kind of holding me back from doing that. But on top of that, I put a ton of time into the bread and butter job, so I don't even know if I'd have the time and energy to do commentary. Because to be honest with you, the games that I'd want to do commentary on, I'd probably have to be at anyways for my current job. Yeah. So it's definitely something I'm still interested in, and I feel like I could still do it, even though I haven't actually done it in like 2.5 years since I graduated. But I don't know. I really love the job I have now. It's kind of a different side of that whole thing, and each one has its pros and cons, and there's an art to doing each one well. And I've really embraced what I do now from the capturing the moments perspective and captioning them on TV, so to speak.
What was the easiest one for you to commentate on? I hear people say so many different things. Every guy I've ever talked to who's done play-by-play has said a different one. I know somebody said basketball because there's always something going on. Somebody says baseball because it's not as fast.
Yeah.
I guess for you, which one was kind of the easiest or your favorite?
Man, I don't know.
Or which one was the hardest, if there was one?
I have a guess.
I honestly liked lacrosse just because it was kind of niche and not everybody could do it. And having played it for so many years, I kind of had the background knowledge, or I could, that could kind of be my thing, So I did enjoy that one. Obviously, football is super fun, but it's difficult because there's a lot of things, especially if you're doing it on radio, that you need to describe and keep up with, you know.
Yeah.
Basketball can be difficult because the difficulty with that one is the ball's going to go in the hoop 100 times a game or something.
Yeah.
You got to come up with a bunch of different ways to describe that instead of, and it goes in kind of deal.
Right.
So I'd probably say it's a tie between lacrosse and football. And the hardest one, I don't know. I think they're all hard, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
Everybody can't do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you want to do a great job every time you get on, and especially when you're doing it on the radio medium. I mean, it's a whole different challenge than television. So, yeah, I don't know if I have an answer for the hardest one. Yeah.
Did you do that by yourself, or did you have a analyst with you?
We would have a color analyst. There'd be times where you'd have to do it solo too, but yeah, usually be two of us. So
You talked about, your love for covering the local sports, the lesser known athletes, and I guess the significance of that as well. Has there been an athlete up close, some 2 or 3 star that no one's ever heard of that you walked away saying, whoa, like somebody needs to sign that kid?
yeah, I mean, it happens a lot, honestly. And if I went through my phone and kind of the stuff that I've done over the years, I'm sure that I could kind of figure it out. I'll give you one. This kid named Chad Elsey, he played running back at Ascension Catholic, little 1A school in Donaldsonville. I think he's maybe 5'10", 210 pounds or so. I mean, he would score 6-7 touchdowns a game. And
No pun intended.
yes, no pun intended. I always make it clear when that's coming into play that I'm not making a joke. I forgot to do it there, so I apologize. I did it yesterday with, what was the kid's Connor? Yeah,
yeah.
I did it with him. Now, he's not a big 6'7" guy, so it wasn't a big deal. Anyways, Chad Elsey would dominate everybody he played against. And people wouldn't really give him a lot of shine just because he's playing against smaller 1A schools.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he played 5A in high school, his skills would translate and he would have gotten a lot more attention. So nobody recruits him that hard until later in his process. So he signs with Kentucky State, a D2 school, and they're actually playing Southern next year, which is pretty cool. The guy that coaches that team, Felton Huggins, has big connections in Louisiana. So he's starting to take all these Louisiana kids that get under-recruited for one reason or another. So Chad goes to Kentucky State, balls out, has a great year, and now he's going to play at Southeastern Louisiana. And I feel like he's got FBS in his future too. So, I mean, there's so many kids here that I try to get exposure for and stuff, and I see firsthand, and I'm like, I don't really know what these people are missing. I mean, you could talk about the strength of the competition and stuff like that, but Harlan Berry played at St. Martin's, and I mean, pretty sure that's a 1A school too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He was number 1 in his class.
And I'm not comparing him to Harlan Berry or anything, but that's not always the biggest thing is who you're playing against. If you can play football, you can play football. And so now he's at Southeastern, and I'll be really curious to see if he can continue to have success there and then continue to move up the ranks in college. They got another kid there, Kyrie Paul, who played at Estruma High School, which is where who was the Billy Cannon. Billy Cannon played there way back when. And he's a freak. I know. He's a freak athlete, Kyrie Paul, man. He's super fast, a little bit smaller, kind of a scat back type. Under-recruited again because of where he played, inner city Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
But he signs a scholarship to Southeastern. I went to see him play a game last year. I think it was against East Texas A&M or whatever. I just happened to be there. He scored his first collegiate touchdown that day, and he'll be a sophomore next year. He got a lot of opportunities down the stretch. He'll probably be a star player for them. So there's 2 guys right there that I covered that are at Southeastern that I think are primed to become big names in college football in the next 3 to 4 years.
Is Kyrie a running back?
Yeah.
I've met him. Yeah,
You have?
I
Okay.
have met him. I helped do video for a 5-on-5 tournament and they had it at the Central High School field, and he was there.
Okay.
And he was playing quarterback, so I guess.
Well, he had to.
Yeah. So he is cool. So I agree with you on that one. I do know about him. He's great.
Those are just 2 of many examples of kids around here that are very good guys themselves, very good kids, good students, and great athletes that because they don't go to these Under Armour camps and this and that, or they don't have the famous, relative, people don't really know about them, but that's kind of where we come into play. We can try to help get their name out there. And when I have a chance to talk to local coaches and recruiters, sometimes they'll ask me for guys that I've seen, and I'll give them some names, So it's cool to be able to do that.
Like a little agent right there.
Kind of.
And
Almost, yeah.
You need to
Don't
cut
pay
it.
me, though. I'm
Yeah.
not accepting any money to do it. It's just love of the game,
But with working with these local kids, and I guess somewhat playing a part in, how they're recruited. In a
Very
sense.
small part.
Very small part.
Yes.
Do you ever get any kids that come up to you directly, maybe ask you to make them a highlight mix or anything like that? And what is that like? What is that awkwardness like, having to tell them, I can't really do that? Or does that ever happen?
No, I mean, if they ask me and I have enough footage to do it, or I can come film something, like a workout that they do or something like that, I'll say yes. And I never accept any money for it because I'd rather just kind of do it for fun,
Yeah,
and for
yeah.
them. And most of the time, kids don't even have to ask me. I'll go to a game and watch and film. And if someone has a great game and I kind of learn about who they are, I'll just make it for them, put it on Instagram, tag them, and they'll see it. Like most of the time, kids don't even ask me. It's I go to games and you show me that you're a great athlete. You know what I mean? Sometimes kids will DM me asking for them too once they see I made one for their teammates and stuff. And I'll make them for them. I never say no to anybody. Now that list does stack up after a while, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when we get into football season and stuff. But it's just something I love to do. And I don't know. I just feel like we're wasting opportunities to spotlight people if we're not doing that. So yeah, I don't know. I just started making them early in my tenure, and I haven't stopped, man. And it's a lot of fun, because now sometimes you go to games and kids know you're there, and be able to catch up with them and stuff, and they'll do something cool, and their parents. So in the moment you finish filming, you smile and you're like, man, that's awesome, good for them,
Yeah.
Or you'll see that they had a great game and somebody else filmed it on social media. You'll shoot their parents a text and them a text, like, man, saw you balled out. That's awesome,
Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to follow these kids' journeys and kind of highlight them now and see where they go in the next 5 years and beyond.
So working in an area like this, right, is rich with sports talent, especially, big programs like LSU, Southern. What's been your favorite sport to cover, right? This could be LSU baseball, LSU football. Which one gives you, I guess, the most?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot, and for me, it's either the high school sports or it's LSU baseball. To be honest, I don't get to do a ton with LSU football as far as the games go, and basketball. So those are the main two for me. And between those, it's hard to pick because baseball season was pretty cool last year and even the year before when they went to Chapel Hill. That was a really fun experience seeing them struggle, turn it around, and almost make it back to Omaha in that season. And then last year, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
They went to Omaha, they didn't lose a single game, and they hosted the regionals and the super regionals. But at that same time, these high school games, I drove up to Monroe 2 years ago to see Central High School play Neville in their stadium in a state semifinal game, trying to get to the Dome for the first time since the 60s. And, I got back at like 4 a.m. that night, and I woke up and went to work the next day. But it was like I got 8 or 10 hours of sleep, and I was just rolling on adrenaline because they went and they pulled that upset, and it was crazy. And then they went on to beat Rusted 42-0 in the Superdome. That's history right there that you got to be a part of and experience. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as Syracuse and LSU with Baton Rouge. People that live in Central or live in Sanoma, like they love their local high school team. That is their thing, So when they go and they're doing crazy things like that, and you get to be there and be a part of it, that's awesome. It's like you grew up there too, in a way. So I'd probably say a tie because the basketball stuff's cool too. I was driving up and down I-10 all last week for the state championships and stuff, and seeing everybody from St. Gabriel there for East Iberville High School. And everybody from Bruley there to see them win their first state title since 1984. And everybody from Zachary, seeing them win back-to-back. It's just there's so much interest. People will drive hours, miles to see their teams play. They just love it, And it's the same with LSU baseball. So it's fun to – I guess my answer here, my long-winded answer, is that it's fun to cover things that people care about a lot. And the high school things and the baseball team and several other teams here, people really care about. So it's cool to – kind of be in the middle of all that from a reporting standpoint.
Have you had like a sport since you started covering sports that you kind of unexpectedly fell in love with? Because since I've started doing this, I didn't watch like really any gymnastics, and then ever since I've started covering gymnastics, I'm a huge gymnastics guy now. I love it. So have you had something like that happen with you?
Well, gymnastics, I didn't really know much about either until I came down here, and I've kind of developed an appreciation for it because, especially seeing it up close at the Gym 101. My coworker Kevin does most of the gymnastics coverage, but I did get to go to that. That was awesome. Very cool. Yeah. For me, though, it's baseball because being a lacrosse guy, I quit playing baseball to play lacrosse growing up, and I wasn't really a big fan of it. I wouldn't really watch it a whole lot, maybe because the Tigers weren't very good when I was growing up either. That's part of it, too. Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
So, and you ask anybody I went to college with, not a baseball guy. There were internships I could have done that I regret I didn't do now during the summer that they would do baseball related, and I just had no interest in any of that. But since coming here, love baseball. I don't know that I could watch anybody else play but LSU. Like, it's kind of just, you cover the team, you know these people, so you're more motivated to watch kind of thing. But I've learned a lot about the intricacies of the game and different things like that. People like to give me flack sometimes because one of the first questions I asked when I was down here was the Stephen Milam. He's a switch hitter. I was like, Steven, so when do you decide when you want to bat from the right or the left-handed side? Dumb question. I didn't know a lot about baseball. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how little I knew then and how much I've been able to kind of learn just from being around it and stuff like that. So I'd say baseball. Yeah.
Kind of curious, what was his answer?
I don't remember, honestly. I think we have that interview on our YouTube page. I'll have to go back and I'll let you guys know. But I think that he probably understood that I didn't really know what I was talking about and was polite about it. So,
One thing I remember hearing, I guess it was last year, was it's important when you're kind of young and getting into the industry, like you got to have two mentors. You got to have one that you know or teaches you things, and you got to have one that you kind of just follow from 1,000 feet away. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of have those mentors, and if so, who are they?
Yeah. I feel like that was more so of a thing for me in college, and it still should be now, but the people that did mentor me are so far away, and I can only reach them, through the phone and email and stuff like that. So I definitely had a lot of those in college, and they would just rip my stuff to shreds, which was good because you don't want someone just, sugarcoating everything you do because then you're not going to get any better, Certainly my journalism teacher that I mentioned earlier from high school who, bumped me to apply to Syracuse there is a guy that I keep in touch with frequently. He doesn't do what I do, but, he's someone that I could talk to about different things, which is nice. And my sports director, Jacques,
shout out to Jacques.
He's been in this business for he's been at WAFB for 25 years, as long as basically I've been alive. And I think in the whole industry, probably closer to 30. So not even so much from asking him for advice on things, but more so just kind of following his lead and how he does things and bouncing ideas off of him and stuff like that. Even if it's not a direct thing, I mean, there's things that you could pick up from him just by being around him and working with him and watching him, and whether it's voluntary or not, there's things that I've picked up and adapted based on what he does. And we have a lot of other people in our building, too, that have worked at our station for a long time, videographers, photog, obviously reporters and anchors that will give you feedback on things, little tips here and there on your shooting, your editing, different stuff. So when you're a professional and you work with other professionals, it's not so much of you're a student and you have mentors. It's more of a collaboration in some ways, because we're all working to put together the best product to have the best ratings to keep this a profitable business, Yeah. So it's a little bit different than when you're in school, but you could still get those same things out of it for sure.
Gotcha. I want to go back to the Stephen Milam thing.
Yeah.
You said, and not so much as the question, but I guess the situation in itself. You ask a question and you probably look back on it, maybe, I don't know, you realize you wouldn't do it again probably. What is it like to internalize something like that? And how do you learn from it? How do you take away from that? And how does it help you now? Just become better at your job?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a lack of knowing ball question, honestly. So, it wasn't something I did it intentionally, but you kind of just got to laugh at it, It's not that big of a deal. You learn from it, So now, when I ask questions, I try to just, make sure they're well thought out. But sometimes the best questions are the shortest questions, or the ones you think the least about, because there's sometimes that coaches like Jay Johnson, for example, like he really wants to get on his soapbox and spill some things out. And all you got to do is kind of give him an opportunity to do that. So I don't know, but when you make mistakes or whatever, you kind of just got to, take it for what it is and move on. I mean, I've made several of them. Everybody in this business has made several of them. I mean, nothing major, obviously, but I mean, we're all human, and this business is very fast moving too and fast paced. So you're going to trip on your words sometimes. I don't know, something's going to run out of battery. You're going to miss a shot. Like things happen, it's just part of it. And you got to keep moving because if say you miss a home run shot during a game, and you're videotaping it, and you're still thinking about it, and this has happened to me. You're so concerned and worried about missing the next one because you already missed one that you're going to miss that one. I mean, it's the same as being an athlete. If you're concerned about what happened in the first quarter, you're not going to be locked in for the third, and so things are going to start to stack up and pile up. So I just try to get the most out I can most out of each day that I can, whether that's good or bad. And when I wake up the next day, it's a new day, and you got to move on and attack the new challenges, you know?
So each person in every post-game interview, they always have different people more times than not, and each person is different in how they answer questions. Like this year, I could say Cooper Williams is probably the least talkative guy that I've been in a press with.
He's a quiet guy.
But he's a quiet guy. And then you have guys like Braden Simpson who are like golden retriever energy.
Mm-hmm.
So how does your approach switch between people in the press conference in terms of how you ask questions?
It's the same for all of them, honestly, because I can't control how much or little they want to say, you know, but I can control what I want to ask and how I ask it, you know. But kind of going back to something we talked about earlier, if you develop rapport with these guys, you're probably prone to getting a better response from them to your question. Like Cooper, I've had small talk chats with. I did it in Jacksonville. Just, how you doing? How's life? You know, how's college going? Braden, I interviewed in Biloxi. I was there for their exhibition. So when you have that kind of background with these guys, one, I mean, you have some information that other reporters may not have. So, you know, you may not ask a question because you already know the answer to it, or there might be things that you will ask based on things you've talked about before and stuff like that, based on those prior conversations and the relationships you have. So I think, like, if people know you, you know, and you're in that amongst the 6, 7, no
pun intended.
cameras and in the 15 or however many people in there, but y'all kind of know each other. No matter what you ask, I feel like they'll give you an in-depth and good answer just because they know that you'll be responsible with it, and y'all kind of have that rapport, right? So for me, it doesn't change based on who's up there. If guys are quiet and less talkative. Now, perhaps it could change your approach a little bit, like if a guy's not as talkative, don't give them a reason to give you a short answer. Like, don't ask a question that can be yes or no.
Gotcha.
Like Jay Johnson, he's not going to give you a yes or no unless you ask him, I don't know, is Kaysen starting on Friday? And he never releases his starting pitching order until the other team does. And he might give you a yes or no then, or I'm not answering, that kind of deal. But try to give guys questions that are open-ended, that they have to expound upon for their answer to make sense, you know? Some guys, though, they're just not very comfortable in front of the microphone, and that's fine, you know? So,
what's the coolest interview you've done?
Oh, man. I came here thinking we were going to be talking LSU, Oklahoma.
I got a couple. We're going to get there, yeah.
I'm just saying, I should have prepared to think about this a little bit more before I came. Man, I don't know. I'll just throw out a couple ideas, I guess. I got to interview Jaden Daniels when he got drafted in Detroit because I went home, stayed at home and went and did all that in like my first year, which was cool. Interviewed Fredo Bang. Andre did too.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
Yeah, he was in this
It
room.
was
Yep,
right here.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I think he was in that seat.
Well,
Was he late for you as well?
a little bit. But you got certain privileges when you're of that status. You know, it's no big deal. Which is why I showed up early, by the way. Another one, I mean, I got to interview a bunch of people on the field after they won the Natty in Omaha. I mean, that was pretty dang cool, just that setting and what had just happened. So I'm probably forgetting about a couple things here and there, but I'd probably say all of those. Jake Brown was pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
We interviewed
What a guy.
for like
Jake Brown
an
was
hour
What a
and a
guy.
half, from everything about baseball to how many movies he watches in the summer to his love for Crocs. So even like the people that don't have the most clout and stuff, like it's fun to just talk to people, like, you know, especially when they get into such off the wall things like that, you know. So those are probably some of the things I'd say.
I got one more question. I think we should do talk about Oklahoma. So who out of all the baseball guys is your favorite to like just talk to right now? Like who's just the coolest guy?
The guy I probably talk to the most is Tanner Reeves, honestly.
Okay.
And we played golf together one time too,
really?
so that was cool. He's just a
Did you beat
really. It was a 3-person scramble. I don't know that we were keeping score.
Okay.
He had some good swings. I thought I had a couple of okay swings in there. I don't even know if we were keeping score, but that was fun to do that. He's the guy I catch up with probably the most. We also interviewed together and stuff like that. I try to stay out of their way. You know, they're getting ready for the game and stuff.
Yeah.
Quick hi, hello here and there. But he'll usually kind of, you know, hang around for a few minutes before they do, you know, infield drills and stuff like that. And we'll just chat about whatever's going on, his family, what they got going on. trips he's taken with his girlfriend. I mean, that kind of stuff. So love them all. We'll talk to any of them, but he's probably the guy I talk to the most.
I ran into Garrett Nussmeyer on the golf course before.
You did?
I
Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, I think you.
I remember that.
Did you
yeah.
text us that? Or
I
remember someone
texted
talking about
Andre
that.
whenever he was still here, but
he might have texted us.
I ran into Garrett Nussmeyer at the LSU course of all places, and I played through, and I nuked but I hit a 240-yard drive center fairway right in front of Garrett Nussmeyer, so I could always flex that.
There you go.
Was he in the fairway or was he behind you?
He was behind me. They were letting me play through. Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Because there was 3 of them, so and I was playing by myself.
Let's go. I mean,
There you go.
that's about as high stadium pulse as
I know, dude.
Yeah.
My heart was beating, man.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Aside from hitting it in front of a couple of good-looking girls.
Yeah.
That's probably the only place that would have been higher stakes.
yeah.
But yeah,
You would have done the same thing.
probably so.
Right
yeah.
down 240.
Yeah,
you know?
I believe
it would have
it.
been 260.
It would have been
'Cause,
260.
yeah.
260. Yeah.
I had to take it easy because it's Garrett Nussmeyer.
Right,
and,
right,
I didn't
right.
want to.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You don't wanna show him up.
I didn't want to show. Yeah, I don't want to show
Yeah.
him up.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about the baseball, man. You said this is probably your favorite sport to cover, and if you let Will tell it, this was supposed to be
All right, wait, we don't have to bring that up.
this is
We don't
supposed
have
to be
bring
one of the
that up.
best baseball teams ever this season.
Yeah.
They haven't
Still
gotten
time.
off. They
Still
haven't
time.
gotten off
Yeah.
to the start that many hoped and thought they would. What has it been like for you to cover it up close though, and behind the scenes? Just what has it been like?
For the duration that I've done it,
Yeah.
it's been awesome. I mean, I enjoy it because it's a big time sport. It's a big time team, but it doesn't feel saturated. Like you don't walk into the interview room after the game and there's just tons of people there like there is for football.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit, you feel a little bit more close to it, and it feels a little bit more off the radar while still having thousands of people there and so many people interested. So it's kind of cool too. I mean, you get to get some access to it that you wouldn't get with football. Like we don't really get to be close to the athletes and talk to them ever. I mean, these guys we're right there next to them, and we'll interact with them before the game and stuff, and we'll do press availability quite often. So there's a lot of passion in it too. Like when
Yes.
Tony Vitello and Tennessee were here last year, I mean, every pitch was going to determine if people were going to have a good day or a bad day, and being there for that walk-off, especially on the Friday game. I mean, that was just awesome. It was like 1:17 in the morning, and there were still tons of people there. And, I mean, the place was just rocking. It's not like that everywhere, I mean, you go to some other college baseball games and stuff, and people just don't really care, unless something big's going on. So it's been really fun, and that's kind of what's allowed me to build a little bit of a brand for myself, kind of find my niche here is the baseball from the TV aspect, because it's a big deal and people care about it, but you also got the women's basketball and the football and a lot of other things going on here that people care about, so it's hard to keep up and really dive into all of it at the same time. So that's what I've really tried to do is put a lot of my focus and energy into that, and luckily there's an audience for it. So.
Obviously, this past weekend, SEC opener, wasn't necessarily ideal. You drop the series on the road, give up 23 runs. Now they kind of shift into this weekend where they got top 10 team in the nation coming to the box. I mean, pitching hasn't been up to par, but it's one of those things where you kind of need time to get guys rolling. Do you think
A little bit.
they're starting to hit that? You think it's coming soon, or is it a genuine concern?
I think so. It's just a different learning curve. Like, you can go and dominate against Northeastern and Sacramento State and Milwaukee, and there's times where they didn't even do that from a pitching standpoint. But the starters, for the most part, were very good early in the season. But then you get into SEC play, and these guys, I mean, everybody can hit, and everybody's hoping to make it in Major League Baseball. So it's just a different level of competition, and it might take a little while to get adjusted to that. On top of that, you're going on the road. The weather wasn't great in Nashville from what I saw. It was very windy. They were playing on turf. The mounds were turf. Everything was turf. So there's different things you can point to that may have affected the performance. Now, you say any of that to the players and Jay Johnson, it doesn't matter. I mean, we need to overcome that. There's no excuses and stuff. But I think they did need that week to kind of settle back in. Now, will that just be a one-off or will that be the trend? We'll find out this weekend. What I will say is that right now, what LSU needs to do a better job of, especially from a pitching standpoint, is not hurting itself. Like, they have some great pitchers on this team, and they're kind of battling against themselves and the other team right now because they're walking so many guys. They're hitting guys. They don't have the command. Now, when they're in the strike zone and they're dialed in, like you look at Case and Evans, there's advanced analytics you can look at where when people put the ball in play or he throws strikes, I mean, the batting average isn't that high, or the defense is making some errors behind him. So I think we haven't seen the best from that group. What this team needs to do overall is find a more consistent brand of baseball where they do 2 of the 3 factors of the game at least well, night in and night out. Pitching, defense, offense. Like, there's been so many times this season where one of those 3 or none of those 3 have performed well consistently, and that's why they kind of are where they are. So if they can get to a point where, like last year's team, not great offensively, like good enough, their defense, though, was the best in school history, and they had 2 of the best starting pitchers in the country.
Yeah.
And that was game in, game out. This year, the offense can get hot. We saw that in Jacksonville. They were good against Vanderbilt, I would say.
2 or 3.
Right. But there's also games where the pitching staff has been good and the offense hasn't been great. Or the pitching's been good, the defense hasn't been good, the offense hasn't been good. So they need to find a way to, in the same game, consistently pitch well and defend well, or play offense well and defend well, or whatever. So, yeah.
It's a very Jay Johnson answer right. I can tell you take notes.
You spend enough time around him, you'll probably start to sound like that.
He's forgotten more about baseball than I will ever know. Cliche, but
one interesting thing that happened this year with Jay Johnson was after the what game was it where he sent Zach York stealing third on a 3-1 count?
Yeah, that was
Is that Northeastern game?
I think that was Northeastern game.
Yeah, it was a midweek game. I think it was Northeastern.
Oh,
I have never.
It was midweek?
No, that was a Saturday because we played Dartmouth on the Friday and we played Northeastern on the Saturday.
Okay.
That I didn't know Jay Johnson was capable of making mistakes like that. So it was cool to see him come out. He said in the press conference, he was like, "I've never made that mistake in 20 years of doing this," and like I just thought the count was 3-1 instead of 3-2. Another thing Jay Johnson talked about a lot about, along with complimentary baseball, like you were just talking about, is what's the word I'm looking for? When the team's struggling and they got to come back, what's the word I'm looking for?
Adversity?
Adversity, that's what it is. He talks a lot about how adversity makes the team better. I don't know why I was blanking on that. And I don't think in the time that Jay Johnson has been here, there's kind of been this much adversity, not just pre-conference, but even dropping the first conference series.
Yeah. I mean, 2024, they faced a lot, but they started the season number 2. They entered conference play with, I think, maybe 2 non-conference losses, if that. Like, they were rolling. I remember covering them that year. They'd come back from Texas and looked really good, and then they started SEC play 3-12. So later in the season, they faced that adversity. Yeah, I don't think that at this point of the season, it's the first time since 2007 they lost to 4 mid-major teams or whatever before conference play, and there's a whole lot of other bad, statistics that you could point to. Just wasn't a good pre-conference, and it was surprising, because these are teams that you shouldn't lose to. Certainly not within a 2-week span. McEast, Northeastern, the list goes on. I mean, there's been so many I can't even remember all of them, to be honest with you. And he even said today at his press availability, like, they didn't face a lot of adversity last year. So maybe some of the players that were on the team last year are facing that for the first time, and the transfers and the freshmen hadn't faced some of this adversity before because they were really good at smaller colleges or really good as seniors in high school, and now they are. And we could talk about it. Like, we asked a lot of questions about adversity leading into the season and how will they handle it. You don't know until you actually have to respond to it. And so now they're kind of working through that right now, and Jay said that over the past 5 games, he likes the strength they're gaining mentally and how you're seeing that in the baseball games. Like Vanderbilt Friday, they were down. They put up 5 runs in the 8th or whatever, and they take the lead. That's responding to adversity.
Yes.
Now, they didn't do a great job of that on Saturday when they ended up losing in the walk-off, but you could look at Sunday. They were up 6-1. They blew the lead. It was 6-6. And then they put 5 up in the 8th and I think 5 up in the 9th or whatever late in the game to get back in front. Like, you're seeing them now be able to handle that adversity in game a little bit better, even against Grambling. I mean, they put guys on base and in scoring position, I think, in like the first 3 innings, and they bring guys out of the bullpen, and now they're working through the traffic a little bit better. So going through these things can be a good thing if you make it a good thing, and that's what they're trying to do right now. So this is something that we could look back on a couple months down the road. And that's why I'm not really panicking right now, and nobody really should be because it's so early.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be playing their best in May and June when you want to based on the losses they've taken now. I think everybody would rather that happen than they have these losses come, the last week of the regular season or at the SEC tournament. And then before you know it, you're out of a regional, like many SEC teams have been the past few years.
I think one of my favorite quotes, just to go with that adversity, is I think it was Nick Saban said, "You never want to waste a failure."
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that this program kind of lives by, especially under Jay.
Mm-hmm.
What are your keys for this weekend? I mean, who are you kind of looking for to be a difference maker, to respond? Maybe they had a bad game on Saturday, didn't pitch too well on Friday, like anything like that. Is there one guy that you think can be a difference maker, can flip a switch?
I don't know if it's one guy because, the way the team is structured this year, I think it is a collection of guys. There's not really one guy that's going to turn this thing around for them, you know? I think from a pitching standpoint, obviously the command has to be better. They walked, I can't remember, it was like 28, 30 guys. It was the most in an SEC series since like 2017 or something was the stat I thought I saw from Hunt Palmer.
And they made the Natty that year.
Yeah,
2017.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's things you could point to. Oklahoma, I saw, leads the SEC in walks taken. So if you're not hitting the strike zone and you're giving them free passes, we could see some more sloppy baseball like they played in Nashville, where it was 13-12 and 16-9 and stuff like that. Because they walk guys too. Like their pitching staff, kind of similar to LSU's, looked really good in the pre-conference, but their opening weekend against A&M wasn't that good. So certainly have better command there. I think that they've made some adjustments and stuff, and they've talked a lot about them. Now, talking about it's one thing and doing it's another, so we'll see if they can indeed do that. I think the other key is the middle of the order and the bottom of the order producing. So guys like Trent Carraway, Zach York, Seth Dardar, Mason Braun, if he pinch hits. Those guys need to produce more. I like what the top of the order's done. Milam and Brown and Derek Curiel. And Stanfield, I think, has done a good job, too. He's kind of been at the bottom. I think he let off on Tuesday, though, so he's been up and down. But, like, a guy like Zach York needs to get going. And he's put some good ABs together recently. He had a hit and 3 walks against Grambling. They need more production there, though, because you like to go into any inning knowing you could score at least 2 runs. And you don't want there to be a stretch of your lineup where the other pitching staffs are like, all right, we can kind of work through this portion pretty easily. Like, you want to keep that constant, consistent pressure on, which is why they were so good in Jacksonville when they scored the 34 runs, because there were no breaks in that lineup. Everybody was producing. Everybody was getting on base. So, to me, if York can kind of be that linchpin in the 5, 6, or 7 spot, I said 5, so no joke. That can change things for this team. Like him extending innings by taking a walk or showing off he's hit 2 homers this year. When he puts the bat on the ball, good things happen. So I'm looking at the pitching staff to have better command and guys in the middle of that batting order like Zach York to reassert themselves this weekend.
Vanderbilt's offense is also probably the best in the
It's
nation.
good.
Like,
Their record.
They play in a little league park, but
both SEC teams in Tennessee have one thing in common.
Yeah. That especially on Sunday, the wind was like 20 miles an hour and it was blowing straight out. So
It was
if you
bad
hit
everywhere,
anything,
man.
it was flying out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
So I think their home run numbers are a little inflated. Some of them, you hit one off the roof of a building, that's one thing, or high up into the net in right field, that's another. But I think where they play helps them out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about because Coach, this is the most front-loaded schedule we've seen since Jay Johnson has got here, and he said that the goal is to help prepare them a little bit more, especially the newer guys. What do you think about the kind of very front-loaded schedule? Do you think it's kind of having that good effect, or is it kind of backfiring? Or
it can. Yeah, I think that he regrets how he did the schedule a little bit. I think he thinks Jay that it was a little too much too soon. Like, coming back from Florida and now you got to get on the bus and go to Lafayette, and you're playing 5-6 games a week, early in the season. But it's in the past now and you can't change it. So hopefully they can use some of that experience moving forward. That's kind of how it is. Like in the regional, if you have to go to a game 7, that's a lot of games in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Same with Omaha. If you lose a game here or there, you're playing the maximum, and so you need to be prepared to be conditioned for that from a physical and mental standpoint. So hopefully if they get into that situation, they can draw on those experiences. Most of them were negative, but draw on those experiences and turn them into a positive when they need to. What I like is that for the rest of March, they're at home, so they got back-to-back SEC home series here. But it is a tough schedule. I mean, they do avoid some of the big guys like Arkansas and Texas, and the list goes on. But it's a good SEC this year. They got Ole Miss, who's looked good so far, I think. They've got Mississippi State, who's had some good moments so far. So, I mean, while the schedule might be a little bit easier, it's still the SEC, you know. And since LSU has already lost a decent amount of midweek games, I think, 2?
Yeah.
They're all must-wins from here on. I mean, Jay said it after the Grambling game. I mean, he called it a must-win game. Was it really a must-win game? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, that'd be a bad loss to take, especially considering losses you've already taken. You can't lose any more midweeks, I don't think, the rest of the year in terms of your RPI and stuff if you want to be hosting a super regional. So no matter how front-loaded the schedule was, I mean, it's going to be tough the rest of the way, that's for sure. And they need to win them, as many as they can.
Yeah,
Is what it is.
I feel like he's been experimenting a lot more with the roster and the schedule.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt.
Like, it's very interesting to see how he's doing things, especially coming off of a season that went so well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, every team has a different recipe for success. He's still figuring out what this team's is, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe more so than last year. Like, I feel like at this time last year was pretty set. I mean, you knew what your outfield was. Sometimes you'd see Ashton Larson, Ethan Fry, Jake Brown in right field or whatever. But the infield was pretty much spoken for. I mean, it was Bear Jones, Daniel Dickinson, Stephen Milam, and Michael Braswell. Sometimes you get an occasional Tanner Reeves at third or somebody else, John Pearson.
Yeah.
It was pretty set, though. Luis Hernandez behind the plate. And the pitching staff didn't change a whole lot either. It was Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, and then you had some shuffling on the Sunday, but that's for most college programs. So this year, what he's trying to figure out, I think, is now that Stanfield's back, second base and third base. I mean, those, and maybe a little bit DH, but those are the two spots he's still looking to find guys for. Maybe they don't have guys. Maybe it's you got a platoon. You got to play 2 or 3 at each position and match them up every game based on their strengths and weaknesses. You're not going to have, as he said today, a Tommy White every single year or a Daniel Dickinson every single year. Yeah. And that's just the position players. From a pitching standpoint, I mean, they're still trying to figure out this bullpen, I think, because some guys are consistent, other guys are not. The good thing is you still have 27 SEC games. You don't need to have your final formula right now. So he's still trying to figure that out. But in the meantime, they got to keep finding a way to win baseball games. So that's the charge for Jay Johnson at this point is day to day we need to have our best team. But this is what it looks like, and here's where I want to get to is how he will sometimes put it. That's what they're going to need to figure out if they want to win a national championship. What is that best team?
Do you think one of the struggles is the fact that it is a relatively younger team with a lot of turnover? I mean, when I say younger, I mean you're starting guys like Cade Beatty who didn't play a lot last year. I mean, he played some, but he's kind of struggling defensively right now. You got other guys. I mean, Stanfield being out didn't really help them at all.
Yeah.
But you had so much experience, especially defensively last year. You had Michael Braswell, in my opinion, the best defensively third baseman in the country.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and it's hard to replace those guys.
It's true. I mean, they had chemistry, too. I mean, I know Braswell played short, last year and not third. Or 2 years ago he played short. But he had played with Stephen Milam. Yeah. He had played with Bear Jones. This year, I mean, it's Stephen Milam and it's everybody else. Like, nobody else in the infield aside from John Pearson and Tanner Reeves had played with anybody. So there's not a lot of chemistry there, And, I mean, maybe defense just isn't their strength in some ways. Like, Jay typically likes to recruit guys based on their offense, and then they'll try to coach them up and get them to be as best as they can defensively. I think they struck gold in Daniel Dickinson. I mean, that guy was just very good on defense, and he could give you a lot on offense too. But those guys aren't out there every year. Or maybe you wanted a version of him and somebody else got him, so you kind of had to take what you can get. So, they're still trying to figure that out. There's no doubt about it. Different guys have different things they're good at. Some guys perform under the bright lights and others don't, I mean, we've seen that too. So there's still a long way to go. There's a lot of games to be played, and this is not the best version, I don't think, of LSU's baseball team. I don't think we've seen it yet. We've seen a resemblance of it in Jacksonville, but I think that there's still another level that they can get to. Will they get there? I don't know, but that's why they're getting paid the big bucks is to get them there if they can.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
Well, before we let you go, man, we just got, I guess, I don't know, one more question unless y'all got something. Just what's the best part about the job, and then what's something the job brings that most people wouldn't know or expect?
Best part about the job, I think just kind of getting to go places that most people don't get to go, like behind the scenes stuff in the
Definitely.
locker rooms,
Yeah.
on the field during the game. I mean, you get to go and see some things, talk to people, just be around stuff that the average fan doesn't get to. And that's part of why we're employed, is so that we can kind of take them there without taking them there.
Yeah.
That's probably the best part about it. Just having the opportunity to form professional relationships with guys that we would otherwise idolize, you know what I mean, as fans
Yeah.
and stuff, like as kids and things like that. I don't think there's a worse part of the job, but there's definitely sacrifices, If you want to do the job well, it requires a lot of focus and time and energy, There's definitely ways you could, skirt the process and kind of give it half effort and you'd be fine. But if you really want to do the job the best, it involves not missing things, taking time to do extra things, and, a lot of stuff that people don't even see, and will never see and will never give you credit for. And that's okay. You have to be willing to accept that. So there's a lot of hours I don't put on my pay sheet that I do for fun because I love to do it. There's a lot of hours I've spent driving places, half asleep. I don't know how I make it home sometimes. There's a lot of hours of sleep you give up. Willpower, yep. But, it's all worth it when you get home and you feel like you did a good job, and you feel fulfilled for the day. And you see people sign letters of intent. And you see people win state championships that you were with in July in the heat when nobody cared. So, like any job, it's hard work. But it's much better than other jobs I had growing up, like washing dishes or bussing tables. You know what I mean? So I do this over that any day of the week. So yeah, I love what I do. It's a good place to do it too. So
Well, there you have it. Thank you guys for watching this very special episode of the Hodges Huddle. I was your host once again today, and we had the pleasure of being joined by Mr. John Eads, along with Noah Saucier and William Gilreath. That's going to do it for us today here in the John Frischer Podcast Studio. I'm Jaden Smith, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.